that protect us, God Almighty, in our going and our coming. Thank you, God Almighty, for our fathers. Thank you for our mothers. Thank you for our husbands. Thank you for our wives. And thank you for our children. We thank you, God, for the teacher that was before us. And they taught us, they gave us the roadmap of the getting, God Almighty. You sent those teachers to help us, God Almighty. Wind us and let us know that you are God and God alone. And we thank you for their life, God Almighty, creator earth. We thank you for all the people that you have woke up, God Almighty, high. I know you about today. It's not many, God Almighty, because the few. But we ask you, oh God, to be with that people that don't know of thee. Have mercy and compassion of them that don't know that you are God and God alone. Be with us that woke up, God Almighty, and give us the strength to continue to praise thee and exalt your name with in the sight of the people. Continue to give us that strength, God Almighty, to serve thee. Continue to give us that know-how of the truth, God Almighty, and don't sin before thee. We ask you, oh God, in your utmost love and compassion, to continue to protect us and keep us in a place that we are caught up in a high and holy and powerful name. Continue to give us that mercy, God Almighty, be able to and let us find the best way to serve thee. And go by the book that you have put forth in us so we can learn how to serve thee, God Almighty, be able to in a country that don't know of thee, God Almighty, be able to. So we ask you, oh God, to keep with this Shabbat, trust in this Shabbat day, to continue to bless us and let us make sure that we do the things that you ordained us to do and keep thy statutes, thy ordinances, and thy commandments. Father, Jehovah, for your goodness and your mercy. Hallelujah. 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 Amen.
O Shema Yisrael, Yahovah Eloheinu, Yahovah Eloheinu, Yahovah Eloheinu, O Shema Yisrael, Yahovah Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Yahovah Eloheinu, O Baruch Shekemo, Baruch Toleno,
continue in the service of the Most High God, I ask that you all join in with me as I even recite the 92nd Psalm, the Psalm of the Shabbat day. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh, and to sing praise unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon the instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon a harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Yahweh, is merely glad through thy works, and I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Yahweh, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither is a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as grass, when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is the day shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Yahweh, most high forevermore.
For Lord, thy enemies shall Yahweh, for Lord, thy enemies shall perish. All the works of iniquity shall be scattered.
But my horn shall I exalt like the horn of a wild ox. I should be anointed with fresh oil. My eyes also shall see the desire of my enemies, and my ears shall hear the desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The right shall flourish like a palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar of Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. To show that Yahweh is upright, he is my rock, and there is no righteousness in him. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And as we continue in our service of the Shabbat day, I ask that you all join in with me as we recite the 125th Psalm. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
They that trust in Yahweh shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed but abideth forever. As the mountains surround about Jerusalem, so Yahweh surround about his people, from henceforth even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands into iniquity. Do good of Yahweh to those that be good, and to them that are upright in their heart. As for such turn aside to the crooked ways, Yahweh shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Yisrael. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And as we continue in the book of Deuteronomy, as it is written in chapter 6, beginning in verse 4, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad. Hear, O Yisrael, Yehovah our God, Yehovah is one. And thou shalt love Yehovah thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. And shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hands, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates. And it shall be when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land, which he swore unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, to Yaakov, to give thee great and goodly cities thou buildest not, and house full of all good things thou fillest not, wells digged thou diggest not, vineyards and olive trees thou plantest not. But thou shalt have eaten them before, then beware lest thou forget Yehovah, who brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt fear Yehovah thy God and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. Ye shall not go after other gods, and the gods of the people that are round about you. For Yehovah thy God is a just God amongst you. Lest the anger of Yehovah thy God be kindled against thee, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. Hallelujah. Therefore we honor and extol the God of our fathers, for restoring us back to our heritage, even here in the land of our captivity. We thank thee and praise thee with all our might, and we say, blessed is the name of Yehovah our God forever and ever. Amen. And let us sing the Shema. Shema Yisrael. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily shall ye keep my Shabbat, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yehovah, who sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Shabbat, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that profaneth it shall surely be put to death. Whosoever do any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day is a Shabbat of solemn rest, holy to Yehovah. Whosoever do any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, that the heavens and the earth will finish, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day God finished his work which he had made, and God blessed the 7th day and hallowed it, because then he rested from all his work which God in creating had made. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Please repeat after me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If thou turn away thy foot because of the Shabbat, from pursuing thy business on my holy day, and call the Shabbat a delight, and the holy of Yehovah honorable, and shall honor it, not doing thy wanted ways, nor pursuing thy business, nor speaking thereof. Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yehovah, and I'll make thee to ride upon the high place of the earth, and I'll feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father, for the mouth of Yehovah has spoken it. Hallelujah. with love for thee, O Yahweh our God, we have entered thy great house to welcome the Shabbat day, which invites us to enjoy the blessings of rest and peace. Thou art near to us in this place, and wherever we call upon thee, thou will come to us and bless us. On this Shabbat day, may we look back upon this past week and reflect earnestly upon the way we have used the fleeting moments. Be with us in the coming week, that we may be faithful to all our duties. Make us glad that there's so much joy in this house, and may we ever be eager to spread around the light of happiness, of love and goodwill. May this day bring peace to our hearts and joy to our souls. Hallelujah. Let us sing the Shema. Shema, 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 Yisrael. Yahovah Eloheinu, Shema Yisrael, Yahovah Echad, Baruch Shem Kedosh, Malchuto Hallelujah. Yahweh, Yahweh, God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and that by no means clears the guilty. Visit iniquities of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, until the third and to the fourth generation. Therefore we serve only you, Yahweh, because your glory endures forever. We will love you and serve you, and show reverence unto thy most holy name. Who is like unto the King of glory? Hey. There is none like unto him. And who is like unto our God, who fights the battles of his people, Yisrael? Hey. He who smites nations for us, and subdues our enemies before our eyes. Therefore we honor and praise his holy name. Shout for joy, the holy ones of the Most High God. For our King will deliver us if we keep his laws and commandments. For our King will save us if we serve him with all our soul. For our King will deliver us if we do all that he commanded Moshe. For our King will save us if we praise him with all our might. For our King is the God of glory. Yahweh, Yahweh hosts is his name. So make a joyful noise, O ye chief men, and sing aloud, ye princes of Yisrael. Let the daughters of Sion sing with joy, and let all the hosts of Yisrael clap their hands. For the King of glory is very near. From everlasting, even unto everlasting, thou art God. Hallelujah. Sotra Besion, Tareo, Behar Padosh, Takaredo, Amareti, Bayo Chenawa, Ki Bayo Chenaya, Tiweo, Sotra Besion, Tareo, Behar Padosh, to try to venture too far into this. So we're going to sing Baruch Hashem, and we're going to start our service for the day. Hallelujah. Sounds good?
Amen.
Baruch Hashem,
Baruch Hashem,
Shel Yahovah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahovah. Baruch Hashem, Yahovah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahovah. Blessed be the name. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You may be seated. Continuous praise to the Most High God, King of heaven and earth, even the God of our forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov. I bid you all to tell of our forefathers. Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom Lakai.
How's everybody feeling? How was your week? How y'all feel about that snow? Good.
Not good.
It could be worse. That's right. Silver lining in the cloud. Silver lining in that snow cloud, right? Can always be worse. And, you know, we have to learn to count our blessings, right? Because there were some people who didn't wake up this morning. There were some people who found out that they lost a loved one. D.C.B sends out our condolences to our brother, Chief of Vinya, in losing his mother. And we ask that he continue to comfort that family. And that, you know, continue to reach out. If there's anything we can do to help, we're here. That's what we're for. We're here to help one another. And we ask that the Most High God continue to bless us with life, with more life, and that the death will be far and in between. And we ask God that he continues to be with us as a congregation, right? Because we need to build and grow. And we need to understand how we can become a community once again, and how we can become a nation once again. Part of that is the message that I keep preaching, is that we got to learn to rely on one another. And we have to learn how to be reliable people, right? And so when we do that, part of that is understanding how to do these laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments. Because we got enough problems already happening out there for us to be arguing with one another, right? We don't need that. I sit down, I tell my Isha all the time, I'm like, listen, I had enough of them all day. So when we got problems, you can come and talk to me. Just let me know what I need to do. I make mistakes. I might just be like, you know what? You're right. That's what we got to do sometimes. And then just as important as it is to tell each other about when we're doing bad, it's as important to tell each other when we're doing good. You know, nobody wants to be told constantly, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. Sometimes talk about the good things that people did. That makes us feel better about one another. God did that with us. God caused us to understand. He said, listen, when you do wrong, I'm sending my prophets early and often. They're going to let us know about what Israel's doing. And at the same time, he said, Israel is like the tender herb upon the grass that the dew falls upon. That's how he described us. He said that he'll always give us what we need. And therefore, we ask God that he continues to provide for us, even in times when we don't pray to him.
Okay.
You know, God is providing for us before we even know the danger's coming.
Okay, for real.
Before we even have it in our mind that there might be some danger approaching us, God is stopping and saying, this is what I'm going to do for him. I'm going to send him this, or I'm going to send him in another direction. I'm not going to let you walk down that street. You don't know why you changed direction.
Right.
In your mind, you just thought, I'm going to take a different way. In your mind, you thought you were just avoiding traffic. In your mind, you was just like, I'm tired of that C train. I'm not going to get on that one today. You know what? I need to be on the west side. Let me see how that 2 and that 3 works out. And maybe I'll just walk over. That's the day something happens on the C train, right?
Okay.
That's the day you're not sitting in a tunnel wondering what's going on.
Right.
The day you go a different route is the day that you avoid the car accident. You don't know why you chose the cross island as opposed to the belt, but you went that way. God was talking.
Amen.
Why do I say that? Because after God gives us these things, after we see God was with us, even when we didn't think to ask God to be with us, give something back to God. Give him your loyalty.
Right.
Give him your obedience. Obedience is better than what? That's what God told us. And so, as we stop and we serve God, we understand that he would rather us do these laws than necessarily every time coming with money. Every time coming with a gift. Because sometimes your gift is not enough. Even David said, The sacrifices of God are broken and contrite what? Broken and contrite heart. It's what you have inside of you. It's how you feel about what you're doing. It's why you're bringing it, not the fact that you just bring it.
Okay, teach that.
If you're truly sorry, you understand that God deserves this. And if you really think about what God deserves, all of us should be dead.
Think about that.
Consider the end of the matter, Israel. Consider what God expects of us. Moses went up into a mountain for 40 days and for 40 nights. One second. Moses went up into the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. He didn't know what he was going up into the mountain for, but he had to go up into the mountain. What was his job? To listen to God. And I want us to consider that for a moment. And I want us to think about what's going on. Because when it's time to listen to God, it's not always that you'll be told, this is what you're going to listen to. This is what you have to do. Sometimes you have to just be prepared to work.
Yes.
And for some reason, in the time that I've been in Israel, Israelites don't like that. Israelites want to do what they want to do when they're ready to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if... You got a substitute? Okay. So, if we have a situation where I'm only going to do what I'm supposed to do when I feel like doing it, what do you get done? Nothing. Don't be afraid to say it. Nothing. Nothing. Because the reality is, most days I don't wake up and say, ooh, I feel like working today. It's just not the truth. Most days I don't stop and say to myself, you know what? I'm just going to work hard and I'm going to sweat because I feel like sweating today. The reality is that most days I want to take a break from everything going on, right? So if I'm doing something for myself, I don't consider it to be work. But when I'm doing things for other people, that becomes a lot. I'm saying that because as we get into the different portions that we're getting into, this was left on record for a reason. When the Israelites came out of the wilderness, they were not prepared to work. They heard about the land flowing with milk and honey, and they were like, yeah, that's where we're going. They thought everything was going to be easy. And that's not what God had in mind. God had a job for them. God wanted them to do something. God had in mind for them to establish his holy kingdom. The people who came out of the wilderness weren't prepared for that. And part of that problem is that sometimes when you realize that you're going to work, you realize that you won't always be comfortable.
That's right.
When you realize, when you have it in your mind, this is what I need to do and this is going to require some work for me, it's not going to be simple. You go to school, most of us are either in school or have went to school, right?
Okay.
It got progressively harder. It didn't get easier.
No.
And as the years went on, they kept asking you to do more and more things. And just when you thought you read enough, they asked you to read some more. Am I right or wrong?
Okay. Right.
And sometimes you're like, how many more of these pages do I need to read? And sometimes, like, after a while, you get tired of reading. You're like, I don't even know what I'm reading. And this stuff is just here. That's what happens with our history, right? That's what happens with the Tanakh. People take the approach to stop and say, oh, I'm only going to read this much, and I'm going to stop. We can't make the same mistake that our forefathers made. Our forefathers didn't have the opportunity to read because sometimes they weren't allowed to read, or they weren't allowed to get an education, or the type of education that they were given was subpar to have you on a reading level sufficient to understand what's going on in this book. Yet alone read Hebrew. Yet alone have a Torah service. So as Black History Month has ended, and we continue on Black History Year, because we keep on Black History.
That's right.
I say for us to remember Hamore Mishael ben Yisrael, God bless his memory. And I say for us to remember Korn Levy, Haggadah, God bless his memory. And I say for us to remember Rabbi Matthews, and God bless his memory. Because you know what? These were men who dedicated their time to understand what was happening in this book, to give it to us so we can serve God properly. Not that they wanted to change us, not that they wanted us to be their servants, not that they wanted us to say, oh, well, I got 800 congregants in my place, and I got 1,000 in mine. But they wanted us to get it right before God, because God is worthy. And so as you look at the leaders and the teachers and the people who come up here to speak, be prepared to learn. Be prepared to receive the message that they have. Have it to be that you remember Moses up in the mount for 40 days. And his job was not only to get that information, but in spite of how they felt about him, in spite of the fact that they didn't like him, in spite of the fact that they wanted to kill him, in spite of the fact that they blamed him for bringing them out into the wilderness, that it would be their graves, that he had to teach them everything that God said to him in a month. And I want us to understand this. The concepts that Moses learned about serving God in 40 days and 40 nights, there are some people who can't get in a lifetime. It took him a month. 1 month. A little bit more, right? 28 days, 29 days. He was up there 40 days and 40 nights in the presence of God. You got people who sit down and will write an entire thesis on one passage of what they thought Moses meant, what God meant when it was relayed to them. And we still argue about it till this day. And we won't give God 10 minutes out of our day to read the very thing that he gave us for our life. So as I call up the maftia for the day, I'm going to say this. Let's be serious about what we do. That doesn't mean that we're robots and every moment we can't be jovial about certain things, but understand that the job that's before us. We have to reestablish a kingdom, we have to reestablish a nation, and we have to teach the world of what righteousness is. And understanding that, it starts with me and you. It starts with what we have to do, how we conduct ourselves, how people view us in our day-to-day activity, and also us making the required changes that we have to make in order to be acceptable before the Most High God. Hoping and praying that you got something out of what I said, and that the Most High God found these words acceptable to be spoken before his people. As I ask you all to rise at this time, as I call up even the maftia of this day, even my brother, Chief Uziel Ben Levi, Baruch haba.
Hallelujah.
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 Blessed be the name of the creator of heaven and earth, Yehovah. You may be seated. Thanking the Most High King for our lives, food, clothing, and shelter, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I'm thankful to this great King for all of your lives. Woke up this morning, looked outside. I wake up like 3:45 in the morning, can't go back to sleep. And but I looked outside and I said, wow, it's a whiteout. But I'm thankful to the Most High God that I have the heart and the will to, no matter what it is, to come out here and do what it is. Because if we all don't come out, then things won't get done. So some people might not make it out because it might be kind of tough for them, and we understand that. But those of us that are able to do it should come out and put forth your hand to do what you had to do. And the blessing was when I got here, there was no snow on this side. I just knew we had to bring all our shovels, start clearing out the sidewalk and doing all that. Came here, it was clear. So I'm thankful to the great King for this life. And I thank the Creator for understanding, because with understanding we get to grow. Right? And with understanding we get to see certain things. And the Most High God blesses us with things, insight and vision of certain things. This whole week I had seen that everybody was going at this particular group of Israelites, and I won't mention their names because they already went through a lot this week. And it was all because a young lady in the UK, they have a branch of their organization in the UK, and I seen this young lady that she was missing for about 2 months. Yeah, she did something. She was in a celebration in one of their places in the UK, and after that she just came up missing. Family was looking for her, and so they determined that she'd been murdered. I don't think they have a body, but they found a person of interest, and they have the man arrested. So at this point, the sister's name is Joy Morgan. Mother, heartbroken sister. I mean, that's, you could imagine. And young, promising young girl, 21 years old. She was going to college, and she's an Israelite. She was practicing this way of life, and I seen all the things that people were saying and the accusations and everything. And sometimes you have to take a step back, and you have to understand, and you have to see what certain things are. You can't sometimes blame a whole organization for isolated events, or an event, or something that happened, because I don't think that through all that people actually go out there and do things like that. You have to be demented to actually, murder someone, right, in that manner. So it's still a lot of facts that are not out, but our heartfelt condolences go out to the family of Joy Morgan. I'm all the way in the UK. If they listening to us, I know people from the UK listen to us. Congregation, CHOKMAH, BINAH, our hearts is out with you and your family. And we hope that the Most High God will bring you closer even in this time. Also, like my brother Moreh Yiftah said earlier, to my brother Chief Avinia, to the Randolph family, our deepest condolences to that family. Chief Avinia, he's like a big brother to me. So when your Ima passes away, that's hard no matter at what age. So because that's the one constant woman that's been there from the beginning of your life. Think about that. Somebody that's been there constantly from the beginning of your life. You might have been married, divorced, and do all that. That woman don't go nowhere. She's been there from when you was born. Literally. So you can't, the love of my mother is precious. So when you lose a mother, you feel it. And that's why we should always cherish our mothers, our fathers. You only get one in a lifetime. So when they go, you don't have them anymore. So all the moments that you can have with them and you could enjoy them, enjoy them. Don't shun them away. Don't be like, I'm busy right now. I can't really, like I seen a McDonald's commercial with the son, he's in McDonald's, and then the father comes in, he said, I already know you running, you gotta go. He said, nah, actually, I'm gonna sit down and we gonna talk. Like, you're not shunning your parents away, you're not, you hushing them away, or you don't want to listen to them, because they might be here one day and gone the next. So parents are to be revered and honored and understand the goodness of parents. Even if you got parents that check you, they keep checking you. But then you gotta take it, because when they gone, you gonna wish that they was there to tell you you're doing wrong. Straighten up. So, thanking the Most High God for the life of our brother Chief Avinia, and for the life that he gave his mother, Miss Randolph, and also our brother Memelech and Bay Shalom. He lost his mother. Right. So our condolences go out to that family, to our brother. May the Most High God bless them and protect them and keep them and guide them you know, it's a tough time. It's a tough time, but through it all, we always come out better on the other side.
Okay.
And the Most High God teaches us how to be that type of people, and we get understanding. It says better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of mirth, because in the house of mourning, you consider.
That's right.
So what happens is with elders, that's the way the course of life goes.
Okay.
But when you go to a young funeral, then that's something different. You know, a young funeral, that's where when, you know, emotions are really raw. Elders, you know, you cry, but the comfort is that they live their life. And they accomplished most of the things that they wanted to accomplish. So they got to live to an age where they got to see grands, great-grands. So at the end of their lives, you could celebrate their lives.
Amen. Amen.
Right? Because you could talk about all the goodness that they did and the type of person that they were, and so forth and so on. But when somebody is young and they get cut off, there's so many things up in the air.
Yeah, a whole lot.
So many things up in the air. One thing that this thing has taught me is that, and it's going to be a little social lesson. Get you some insurance. Get some insurance for you, for your family, because when those times come down, you don't want to be left having to run around and doing the things that, you know, if you don't have it at that point. So insurance is definitely something that we should do. We're going to go to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 12, starting from verse 1.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yehoash was 7 years. We're in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 12, starting in verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yehoash was 7 years old when he began to reign. In the 7th year of Yehu began Yehoash to reign. And he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zibiah of Be'er Shabbat. And Yehoash did that which was right in the eyes of Yehovah all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Howbeit, the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and offered in the high places.
So what we see here is Yehoash, right? He was 7 years old when he began to reign.
Okay.
This is not far-fetched in our history, because if you was a king and you had a young son and you checked out of here early, that young son will take over. But that young son wouldn't take over just by himself, because obviously a 7-year-old can't run a nation. A 7-year-old don't have the capacity or the aptitude to run. He can't make those decisions. Now you have 7-year-olds that are geniuses, but they still can't run a nation. It's still, you don't have the ability to do that. So you need elders around you. You need people around you that's going to guide you the right way. You got people that inherit big money at a young age, right? But what happens is the parents sometimes, if they're smart enough, they leave people to take care of them and to make sure that everything is guided the right way, because a young person will blow through some money. That's why they got trust funds. Because the trust fund said only release this amount of money to them per month. Right? You got enough money to last you a lifetime, but the why they set up the trust fund is for you not to blow the money in less than a lifetime. So parents say, all right, I'm going to set up a trust fund for this guy right here, because maybe in like 15, 20 years he'll get it together, and then he'll learn how to handle and manage that money. So it's important to have things set up. So Yehoash, he had the high priest, he had the priest, he had the people in the midst of him that could guide him in the right way. Let us go. It said that the children, it says, hold on, did that which was right in the eyes of Yehovah all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Right? So you see that the priest was instructing him. Howbeit the high places were not taken away, the people still sacrificed and offered in high places. So although he's considered a good king, there were still things going on within his watch that were not right before the Most High God. Let us go.
Verse 5. And Yehoash said to the priest all the money of the hallowed things that is brought into the house of Yahweh, and current money, the money of the persons for whom each man is rated, all the money that cometh into any man's heart to bring into the house of Yahweh, let the priest take it to them, every man from him that bestoweth it upon him, and they shall repair the breaches of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found.
Right. So he said, look, the house of the Most High God, the house that Solomon built, right? It has some damages. There's some cracks on the wall. We got to do some repairing. You know, some bricks is falling out. Whatever it might be, we need to do a patch-up work. So he said, listen, whatever money comes into the house, make sure you use that for the repair of the house. Because we need to get the house up and running properly again. We don't need any incidents. We don't need any bricks falling on people. Because we're not paying out no cash reward for something happening. We're not liable for none of that stuff. Right. Now that's another thing. If you own something, if you have property or something, get you some insurance for that too. Not only life insurance, but you need some insurance to secure yourself against any kind of liability, anybody coming against you. So these are just, he's telling the people, look, we're living in our houses and they beautified, but the house of the Most High God got cracks and all types of stuff in it, and we not taking care of that. But we got to take care of that. We have to do what we have to do. Let us go.
But it was so, that in the 23rd year of King Jehoash, the priest had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Jehoash called for Jehoiada the priest, and for the other priests, and said unto them, Why repair ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore take no longer money from them that bestow it upon you, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. And the priest consented that they should take no longer money from the people, neither repair the breaches of the house.
So what was happening? He gave a command to take the money and repair the house. The priest got to live. The priest said, we don't got no inheritance. We don't got whatever comes in here. We got to live off that. Right? So he gave an order, but through his order and his command, the house still wasn't getting repaired. So now we have a conflict. We have maybe a difference of opinion, right? Of what should be done with the money, or what should be done with the house of the Most High God. The priest said, we got to live. So now they got to come up with a solution in order to go forth with the plan of fixing the house. Let us go.
And Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar on the right side as one cometh into the house of Yahweh.
So this is the first donation box that you see that's recorded in the book. So we're going to get a donation box right here. So we can regulate this thing right here. We're going to set up this donation box right here. We're going to put some holes in it. And you throw the money in there. When we can see through the hole that the money come up, we know that this money right here is to fix the house. Let us go. No confusion. Let us go.
And the priest that kept the threshold put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahweh.
So the priest wasn't considered thieves. No. It was just a confusion. The money, whatever's offered in, is really, that's what they used to. But now we got to have a different fund. This fund right here is for building repair. And that's what he basically told him. He said, look, the high priest said, look, I'm going to set up this chest right here so that when you come in by the altar, right? The altar, remember, we didn't study the temple, but it's the same format. When you come into the courtyard, the altar is right there. That's the first thing you run into. Then come the labor, and then comes the holies, then the holies of holies. So the altar is on the outside part in the courtyard. Right? So when the people are coming in there and they see the donation box, oh, it's right in there. Drop the money. This is donation to fix the temple. Right? And now the people know this is separate. And they was putting the money in there. No more problems. Let us go.
Verse 11. And it was so, when they saw that there was so much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up in the bags and counted the money that was found in the house of Yahweh.
So every time the chest was full, they emptied it out into a bag. They counted the money and continue.
And they gave the money that was weighed out into the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of Yahweh. And they paid it out to the carpenters and to the builders, and the builders that wrought upon the house of Yahweh.
They didn't pay it to your uncle that's a jack of all trades. No. They didn't pay it to Sam down the block that might know how to do pour some cement.
No.
They didn't pay it to the guy who might know how to hang some sheetrock. No, they paid it to professionals that knew how to do the work, that when they did the work, and although they was doing work in the house of the Lord, they still paid them.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they got paid.
They did work
Yeah.
in the house of the Lord. So in the house of the Lord, so every job that's done in the house of the Lord is not for free.
Thank you.
That's right.
Because you got to hire contractors. We do a lot of volunteer work. A lot of the work that we do is volunteer. But all the work that's done in the house of the Lord is not for free. Because if you got to take time out of your profession to come take care of something, that's taking time out from feeding your family. And God don't work that way.
Teach that.
God don't work that way. So they said, we're going to get professionals. We're going to get carpenters. We're going to get brick masons. We're going to get all the people that we need in order to fix this problem in this house. And they gave them that money that was in that chest. Let us go.
And to the masons and to the hewers of stones, and for buying timber and hewed stone to repair the breaches of the house of Jehovah, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. But there was none, but they were not made, but they were not made for the house of Jehovah cups of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver, or the money that was brought into the house of Jehovah. For they gave that to them that did the work, and repaired therewith the house of Jehovah. Moreover, they reckoned not with the men, into whose hand they delivered the money to give them that they did the work. For they dwelt faithfully.
So they didn't even bother the workers because they was dealing faithfully. They was there every day. They didn't need to calculate with them or anything because those guys was dealing in a righteous manner and they was doing what they were supposed to do. Let us go.
The forfeit money and the sin money was not brought into the house of Jehovah, it was the priest.
So that was the money, the forfeit money and the sin money was the money that belonged to the priest. Before, the priest was just taking everything. That was like, well, there is no delineation to what goes where, so if the money comes in here, we're going to use it for what we have to do in here, right? But at this time, there was a donation box, and now this is the money that comes to you. We don't mix that money in. This is something separate. So this is how they solved that problem, and how this coincides with today's portion, which is Wayakhel, right? Yeah. Today's portion is Wayakhel.
Yeah.
So how it coincides is that there was a point where they start to build the tabernacle. The Most High God speaks to Bezalel well, Moses speaks to them, to Bezalel and the Holy Hab, and they ask the congregation to bring all the gold, the silver, and all stuff like that to build the tabernacle. And it came to a point where they were given so much that Moses had to tell the people, like, listen, but Bezalel told Moses, we already got more than enough. We don't need any more. So that's how it coincides with today's portion. You know, they were repairing the breach back then. Back then they were building the tabernacle. So thank you, the Most High King of heaven and earth, for all things and everything, food, clothing, and shelter. And I'm thankful for this holy Shabbat day. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
With that, I'll call up my brother, Chief Prince Yeriel Ben Yissaskar. Hallelujah.
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 Praise the mighty Yah.
Praise the mighty Yah.
Giving all thanks, honor to the creator of heaven and earth, the God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I say to my family, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat. Oh, Shalom. You look good, family. Chief Uzzell, he's the one that started that thing this morning, huh? Talking about it's a white out and all that. My phone pinging up, ping, 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 ping. So I get up. I don't even want to go out. I said, I'm going to be late. But, you know, as the Most High would have it, and as the brother said, you know, I called my Ema and I'm like, Ema, snowing outside, and, you know, this one ain't going, and now, you know, you want to fall back. You know I want to go. She said, you know I want to go. She said, if you ain't going, it's all right. but you know I want to go. So that solidified that. I was like, all right, friends, get on up now. Time to go. But the Most High is great, you know. As we looked outside, as he said, ain't no snow there, so I guess at 8 this morning when he got up, you know, it was a little, but I'm glad all of us made it out here. We pray that everyone is safe that couldn't make it out here. You know, say Shabbat Shalom, our family online. And we moving on in the portion. We're in the ending of Exodus. We come in Exodus 35, and where this goes is we start to get into the work. Because the Most High, you know, we've been hearing how they was getting informed of what's happening and getting the instructions, but now we're going down to the actual construction. Okay. So, you know, reading this, and a lot of this, you know, we're gonna read. It's already been said. Chief Uzziah has taught it, Chief Michael, but we're gonna go over some of it, and then we may switch off. Okay. But as this great God would have it, you know, as I sat there and listened, most of the stuff I was going to talk about, my brothers already talked about. So I was like, I'll scratch that from my list. Scratch that. But then I said, nah, Chris, teach it anyway. That's right. Yeah, you might just say it in a little different twist. That's right. You know, but let's first start off in the portion. We're in Exodus 35:1.
Ready? We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 35, starting in verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Moshe assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel, and said unto them, These are the words which Jehovah hath commanded, that ye should do them.
Okay, it says Moshe assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel. Yeah. Okay, so what he did here, like I said, we've already been instructed on what we're supposed to do, but now it's the construction. So you assemble everybody. I'm calling all D.C.B. to the house. Okay. Because this is the work detail. Okay. So we're going to give everybody a chance to be involved in God's work. Amen. As we're going to see later on, it ain't always so, but we got to give you the chance. You can't say, well, nobody told me about it. Okay. So he assembled everybody. So you can't come back later on and say, well, I ain't know nothing about work detail at the camp. I would have got involved, but that's hindsight. So we letting y'all know up front that it's construction getting ready to go on. Yeah. We got all the details, but now we're going to get involved. Right. Come see.
6 days shall work be done, okay. But on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Shabbat, Sabbath of solemn rest to Jehovah. Whosoever doeth any work therein shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Shabbat day.
All right. Let's go back to Exodus 31:13. All right, this is last week. Our brother Adon Yohanan taught this, and it was also in the same repetition about the building of the temple. It was about what was needed. It was about all the things that was needed for that.
Exodus 31:13. You want to read it? Yeah. 31:13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily ye shall keep my Shabbat, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Jehovah who sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Shabbat therefore, for it is holy unto you. For everyone that profaneth it shall surely be put to death.
All right, as in Adon Yohanan's portion, and as in my portion, you know, we get ready to do construction. We get ready to go in here and do work. So you said, why would they break in the middle of that and talk about the Shabbat? But this is just to let you know that nothing supersedes the Shabbat day.
Amen.
That not the construction of the temple. You can't wait until Shabbat to say, oh man,
there you go.
We got to do a little work on the camp right there. All right. No. Nothing supersedes the Shabbat day. Amen. So we letting you know this first and foremost, that it says 6 days shall you work. You got the number of days you can work. It says, but on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Shabbat of solemn rest to Jehovah. Whosoever doeth any work therein shall be put to death. As it said before, it says this. It's a death penalty to do your own works on the Shabbat day, on God's holy day. And it also goes on to say, Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Okay.
And that was learned earlier. That's why we don't cook on the Shabbat.
Amen.
We don't do certain things because
Amen.
the kindling of fire. So he said, kindle that which you should bake, that which you should bake, and seed that which you should seed on the 6th day. So on the Shabbat day, we're not going to turn on the stove and say, you know, or even going into the Shabbat.
Okay.
So it's just letting us know that. Come shoot.
Verse 4. And Moshe spoke unto all the congregation of the children of Yisrael, saying, This is the thing which Jehovah commanded, saying.
All right. Moshe is letting the people know, as we let y'all know, all the time when we teach, these are not my words.
Okay.
These words came straight from the Most High. I didn't write nothing in this book. I didn't add nothing. I didn't take nothing away. He's letting us know offhand, this is from the Most High.
Okay.
He says, and Moshe spoke unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Jehovah commanded.
Okay.
This is a command from the Most High. Come see.
Take ye from among you an offering unto Jehovah. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, Jehovah's offering. Gold and silver and brass and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and ram skin dyed red and sealskin and acacia wood and oil for the light and spices for the anointing oil and for the sweet incense and for onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate. And let every wise-hearted man among you come and make all that Jehovah hath commanded, the tabernacle, its tents and its coverings, its clasp and its boards, its bars, its pillars and its sockets, the ark and the staves thereof, the ark cover and the veil of the screen, the table and its staves, and all its vessels, and the showbread, the candlestick also for the light, and its vessels, and its lamps, and the oil for the light, and the altar of incense, and its staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the screen for the door, at the door of the tabernacle, and the altar of burnt offering, with its grating of brass, its staves, and all its vessels, the laver and its base, the hangings of the court, the pillars thereof, and their sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, and the pins of the court, and their cords, and the plaited garments for their ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aharon the priest, and the garments of his pins to minister in the priest's office.
Again, these are the same things that we read about earlier in chapters, about the things that were needed. And what, okay, but I'm going to go all the way back to verse 5. It says, Take ye from among you an offering unto Jehovah, whosoever is of a willing heart. Very important.
Willing heart.
Very important. God don't want to have nothing he got to force about you.
Okay.
Not for this.
I hear you.
Your heart got to be willing to be a participant in this right here.
Teach that.
You got to come up happy. You got to come with a good spirit
That's
when you're
right.
doing the work for God.
Teach that.
You can't come up here moaning and groaning and griping and gosh,
That ain't gonna
we go by so fast. So fast. It's Shabbat again. You know, I gotta go to teachers again. You gotta come. You got, if you want something out of this, you gotta come with the right spirit, with a willing heart. So Most High pull it into you. If you're just doing it by rote,
Yeah.
and you feel like you ain't getting nothing out of it, you're probably not,
Yeah, you're not.
because your heart ain't in it.
That's right. Teach
Your
that.
heart ain't in it. And he said, and let every wise-hearted man among you come and make all that Jehovah has commanded. All you wise-hearted people, all you people who know how to do stuff, you gotta come up. You gotta come out when the call is made.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you know, we put out stuff and we wanna do something for the nation or something, and we be like, listen, we need a committee for this and a committee for that. You know, we need the cooking committee. How many people down in the cooking committee?
No,
You see something, look, you know how much you like the turkeys and all that stuff. That sister Maker, she won't put her hand up for nothing.
Waiting for you.
She won't put her hand up. I ain't gonna talk about the rice and peas, man.
Come on.
But it was the willing heart person to come up and make the rice and peas.
Right.
We eat it under protest, but we made it from a willing heart.
Okay.
But it says those who are wise in the different things, you know. Those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But you got to, you know, when you wise at things, when you know carpentry, when you know what your skills are, and it's the call to the Most High, you can't say, listen, I worked a 6-day week this week, man. I'm tired. I ain't coming out to the camp, man. They get somebody else to do that. Huh? I get a conference call. They call me, you know, and I can tell them over the phone, well, do this and do that. Sometimes you got to muster that spirit up to come out to do the Most High's work.
Yeah.
Come sheet. We'll be there.
Verse 20.
Come sheet.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moshe. And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up, and everyone whom his spirit made willing, and brought Yahweh's offering for the work of the tent of meeting, and for all the service thereof, and for the holy garments. And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted, and brought nose rings, and earrings, and signet rings, and girdles, all jewels of gold, even every man that brought an offering of gold unto Yahweh. And every man with whom was found blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skin dyed red, and sealskin brought them. Everyone that did set apart an offering of silver and brass brought Yahweh's offering, and every man with whom was found acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands, and brought that which they had spun, the blue, and the purple, the scarlet, and fine linen. And all the women whose heart stirred them up in wisdom spun the goat's hair, and the rulers brought the onyx stones, and the stones to be set for the ephod, and for the breastplate, and the spice, and the oil for the light, and the oil, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a freewill offering unto Yahweh, every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all the work which Yahweh have commanded by the hand of Moshe to be made.
Okay, again, this is a commandment from the Most High. But again, it says, all departed, first of all, say all departed. After Moshe gave his little speech and he talked, after he assembled the whole congregation, he said everybody departed. Everybody went to their houses.
Yeah.
But not everybody came back.
Okay.
After the nation meeting, everybody heard what was going on.
Right.
When it was time for the work, everybody didn't show back up.
on now.
Okay. Okay.
Everybody didn't show back up. It said those whose heart stirred them up.
Yeah.
Those who heard what's going on, you know what I'm saying, who heard what was happening at God's house, and their heart stirred them up, and they couldn't wait till that day came.
Okay.
They couldn't wait for Sunday to come out and do the work for the house of God.
Okay.
That's who came back.
Yeah.
Those whose heart was stirred up
Yeah.
for the house of God. Those who all week been reading about the great things that the Most High has done for Yisrael. Those who know that the Most High woke them up this morning. He fed them. He gave them the job. He gave them the 6 days a week that they worked. So you stirred up when it's time to give something back to the Creator. That's who came back out. Their heart was like, yo, I got to get to the camp. I want to be the first one there. I want to help open the doors and close the doors.
Yeah.
That's who came. Their heart was stirred up. Don't make the rest of them bad people. It's just, you know, it's just they want to do the work of God. But those who wanted to do it, they came out. And this one here, and they said that they gave the offerings and the different stuff. Go to Exodus 30 and read 13 through 15.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This they shall give, and everyone that passeth among them that are numbered, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. The shekel is 20 gerahs. Half a shekel for an offering to Yahweh. Everyone that passeth among them that are numbered, from 20 years old and upward, shall give the offering of Yahweh. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than the half shekel, when they give the offering of Yahweh to make atonement for your souls.
Okay, now this is a different offering from this one right here. This offering is a just weight and a just balance offering. That offering he just read. The rich can't give more, and the poor can't give less. When you atoning for yourself, there's a set amount that you have to give to the Most High for atoning for your sins and for the things you have done. If it said half a shekel? Okay, so I've got a pocket full, but I won't give it a half a shekel. And you struggling, you trying to pay bills, but you want to atone for yourself, you're going to give up that, you're going to find that half a shekel somewhere. You take it out the rent money, out the light money, your cell phone bill, but you're going to find that half a shekel. But this one that we read right now, it's a free offering. Right. You can give as your heart is willing. So some people might have pretty much nothing, but they said, listen, I don't know where the bill's going to come from, but it's a free offering. I feel good for God. I'm giving all that up. Most High make a way. He'll make a way for me to pay my bills. And then some people, listen, you just got your income tax, you got money, you got paid on the same day you got your income tax. You got like double checks, but you still said, nah, I committed myself to $50 a week. There's your 50. Have a good day. And the Most High done blessed you with a little extra, but you said, that's where your heart stops at. If that's where your heart stops, so be it.
Verse 30. And Moshe said unto the children of Israel, see, Yehovah hath called by name Bazalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah. And he hath filled him with the Spirit of God, and wisdom, and understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, and to devise skillful works, to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass, and in cutting of stones for setting, and in carving of wood, to work in all manner of skillful workmanship. And he hath put in his heart that he may teach, both he and Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. Them have he filled with wisdom of heart, to work all manner of workmanship, of the craftsmen, and of the skillful workmen, and of the weaver in colors, and blue, and in purple, and scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any workmanship, and of those that devise skillful works.
All right, it says, the Most High, even though you have a skill, you come to this thing with a skill, the Most High put it in your heart. When you see that you're willing to do this, he said he put it in Bazalel's heart. He put it in Aholiab's heart. Said he gave him an extra boost. You already know a little something about carving gold. He said, I'm going to put it in there so when you're doing the Lord's work and you're feeling good about it, at the end of the day when you look back at it, you're going to say, wow. And everybody else that look at it is going to say, wow. And it said that he took Bazalel, which is from the house of Judah, and he took Aholiab, which is from the house of Dan. And hallelujah. Shabbat shalom. Amen. Blessed be them that cometh in the name of the Most High. I mean, and some say it was a reason why he picked these two people, because one is from Judah, which is the biggest tribe, or one of the big tribes, and then Dan, which was a smaller tribe. So just to show you that the big can work with the little. That's right. I mean, the big guy can work with the little guy. You know, you can be a leader in a place. Oh, I ain't working with this old layman. Put this layman with me. The big guy, you know what I'm saying? You can be the skilled guy and work with an apprentice. You go to the carpenter's job and you brand new. None of them skilled guys really want to mess with you. They're like, man, put me with this newbie, man. But the big guys, when you're working for the Most High, you're doing certain stuff, it don't matter who you're working with, as long as their heart is in the same place as your heart. Right.
Teach them.
You know what I mean? And as I said, as we go through this, y'all gotta excuse my voice because I had a little procedure. You know, they stuck a tube down my throat. They said it'd be a little sore, but I'm good. Okay. As I said, I wasn't gonna go too far to this, but because it's just reiterating the loops and the curtains and the different things, you know. And but what I'd like to do, you have a popcorn.
Okay. Oh, not up there. So my bad. Moses, my bag is right there in the hallway next to the chair. Can you bring it? Like right in the hallway. Where the seat is in the back.
And most of us in here, we have jobs. We've been blessed with jobs that we work, And as my brother Maury Yiftah, kind of some of the notes I was gonna scratch out because he started talking about jobs and work and all that. Come on, man. Come on. But we all, most of us have jobs. I ain't gonna say everybody got a job because everybody ain't got a job. But for the most part, and like he talked about Black history, and thank you. Torah. And we talked about Black history. The other day I had a shirt on that says Black history didn't start with slavery.
Right.
So, sister asked me, what that mean? Well, I kind of broke down a few things like, Black history started with Adam and Eve.
Right.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moshe, King David, King Solomon. That's Black history. That was the good day. That's what you want to know about your forefathers. And they start with Shirley Chisholm and that's good to know too. But that ain't where people getting taught that. It just started there. Started with the Underground Railroad and all that. They don't go no further back. So that's where Black History Month may have ended, but this is where our work begins. You know what I mean? Because like I said, some of us have jobs, but everybody in here, has been given a job by the Most High. Everybody in the sound of my voice there has been given a job by the Most High. And it's a good job. You know what I mean? The pay is great. You get to wake up every day, But the job is that we have to go out now and show these people that Black history didn't start with slavery. We have to show them the things that the Most High has left on record that is in us, because a lot of people don't know that. So we got to do our job, that the Most High has given us, and we got to try our best to be our best at this job. Because like I said again, I'm gonna repeat it. Some of us have jobs. The Most High blessed me with a nice job. Like when my supervisor catch me, sleeping, he kind of say, "Come on, Prince, you get paid a good salary in here, man." I gotta give him the old what anybody who work a night shift would say. I wasn't sleeping, I was resting my eyes. Try to give him that. But on this job that the Most High has given us, don't get caught like me sleeping, man. Don't get caught sleeping on this job. Right. Do your job to the best of your ability. Okay. Because as my job, you can get fired from this job too.
That's right.
Some have been taken away from this job and still don't know why they got fired. Right. Still don't know why they can't come to the camp or shop, why this is happening, why that's happening. But if we do our jobs right that the Most High has given us, then we'll keep this job a long time. We're going to go to the Bible for the book of the Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 1, verse 1. Okay.
We're in the book of the Apocrypha and the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, starting at chapter 1, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. Think of Yahweh with a good heart, and in simplicity of heart seek him. For he will be found of them that tempt him not, and sheweth himself unto such as do not distrust him.
It says, love righteousness, you rulers of the earth. Again, that's y'all. That's all of us that's been given this job by the Most High. You are rulers of the earth. You are the ones who have to let the people know. You don't stand maybe at this podium, but you're at a podium outside of this place, and you have to let people know what's going on. So it says, love righteousness. Think of Yahweh in goodness and seek him with serenity of heart. Be peaceful. Be at peace with yourself when you know about this. Don't stress it all out. When you know about this creator of heaven and earth, you should be at peace with yourself. You know, you should go to sleep knowing you did the best job you can do. It says, because he is found by those who do not put him to the test. Don't test the creator. You read this book, you know right from wrong. You know the do's and the do-nots. There's no little sins and no big commandments, little commandments. You know, there's no amendments to thou shalt not steal, and you know, there's no, I stole because of this, and you're testing the creator when you start doing stuff like that. You know, well, she ain't had no ring on her finger. You know, she been with the guy 10 years, but he ain't put a ring on her finger, so that ain't his wife. He committed adultery. Mess with another man's woman. So, but we test certain stuff. So it says, don't put the Most High to the test. It says, and manifest himself to those who do not, distrust him. Comes to you.
For froward thoughts separate from God, and his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. For unto a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that is subject unto sin.
All right, it said, for perverse thoughts separate people from God. It's our daily thoughts that put Father further and further away from us. It's those perverse thoughts, it's those things that just go through your mind, you know, and most of the time we act on them. Sometimes we don't, but it's those thoughts that separate us, that put that big distance between us. It said, because wisdom will not enter in a deceitful soul or dwell in a body enslaved to sin. So if it's your goal, if you just like doing sinful things, wisdom ain't gonna dwell with you, because your mind is thinking foolish thoughts. You know, you're not there. You're not there with God. You're working with the adversary, whoever that may be. Comes to you.
For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit, and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in.
Okay, it says, for a holy and disciplined spirit will flee from this deceit. If you're a deceitful person and you just doing things that's wrong, wisdom and holiness ain't gonna stay with you. Two things can't dwell in the same spot. Wickedness and wisdom can't dwell in the same body.
Nope.
One of them is gonna cut out. Either the wisdom is gonna overrule the wickedness, or the wickedness is gonna overrule the wisdom. But they ain't gonna both dwell in there. You can't be a Shabbat doer and then throwing out the week, you going crazy. It's gonna show.
That's right.
The evilness gonna slip out. Like they said, the news guy who came on and said, oh, it's Martin Luther King Day. He been saying that.
Right.
He been saying that. But there's no national TV, it slipped out. It came up. He meant to say Martin Luther King, but because he on TV, and $1 million job he got, but Martin Luther King slipped out because he said it all last night, drinking bourbon with his buddies, and then he got on TV at his job, and because wisdom and wickedness ain't going to come out, it's going to show.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. For wisdom is a loving spirit, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For God is witness of his reigns, and a true beholder of his heart, and a hearer of his tongue.
All right. It said wisdom is a kindly spirit. When you dwelling with wisdom, you try to do nice things. You try to stay on the positive side of things. You know what I'm saying? When you stop doing with wisdom, you always want to get to the negative. You always want to get to, the bad part of a person. You don't want to see no good in a person. But when you're dealing with wisdom, you're going to find the kind in somebody. You're going to find, well, he ain't all that bad. She ain't always like that. It said, but will not free blasphemers from the guilt of their words, because God is witness of their innermost feelings and a true observer of their hearts. The Most High knows. You can fool all of us in here, but the Most High knows your innermost thoughts. He knows how you really feel. He know the prejudice in certain people, even though they, oh, so my best friends are black. The dead ones. You know, but Most High knows that that's just, you know, some slick words, you know, trying to look good in your face. And the Most High knows when we say one thing, but inside our hearts, we really mean something else.
Right.
We say Shalom, but we really know there ain't no peace with that. I never liked it. Never. That's what I'm saying in my heart, but yeah, Shalom. Come shoot.
Verse 8. Therefore he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid, neither shall vengeance when it punisheth pass by him. For inquisition shall be made unto the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto Jehovah for the manifestation of his wicked deeds.
So therefore those who utter unrighteous things will not escape notice. When unrighteousness and certain words and doings come out of you, you can't escape that unnoticed. You can't say something and think that, oh, they don't know on that side. You know, I can lie about this and lie about that. It's going to escape notice. It's not going to escape unnoticed. Justice, when it's punished, will not pass them by. For iniquity will be made into the counsel of the ungodly. It's going to be some counsel made by the Most High. He's going to check this out. He's going to say, look, this guy's found wanting in the balance. He said to convict them of their lawless deeds. You're going to be convicted when you stand here, you sit here teaching after teaching, and then on your, like I say, on your weekdays, you're just doing unrighteous deeds. One day you're going to see that chair empty, you're going to say, yo, what happened to such and such? Oh, you ain't here? Yeah, he got busted, dust and dust and dust. Whatever his evilness was, you know, that he tried to hide on the weekdays, it's going to come to the light. Your lawlessness is going, when you stop doing the laws of God, it's going to come out. Somebody going to see you coming out of that restaurant. Let's say, all pork. You know, they got the ones no that's, pork, right? Yeah, the ones that say no pork. In little right, they say no pork. This one, all pork. All pork. And no bathroom. No bathroom to the public, so you can't use that one. That's what it is, use the bathroom. No bathroom to the public. Come on, man. You come out like this.
All right.
It's going to come out. It's going to come out the wash. Come, sheep.
Verse 10. For the air of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmurings is not hid. Therefore beware of murmuring, which is unprofitable, and refrain your tongue from backbiting. For there is no word so secret that shall go for naught, and the mouth that belieth slayeth the soul.
It said, because a jealous ear hears all things. Anybody know a jealous ear? Boy, you listen, you like this all the time. You listening to every conversation. You in everybody's business. Yeah, it's eavesdropping. There you go. It says, and the sound of grumbling does not go unheard. When you walk around mumbling, murmuring, it don't go unheard. Somebody walk past and say, wow, he just said that. And you have to try to change it or something, but it don't go unheard. You try to talk under your breath, you know. It said, beware then of useless grumbling and keep your tongue from slander. So beware of useless grumbling. Sometimes people just complain about everything.
Oh,
everything is wrong. I mean, you're living, you're working, you're eating good, but too much salt, not enough pepper. Everything. He said, beware of useless grumbling. If they ain't had no point to it, leave it alone. Right. Just look at it and say, oh, that ain't even my business. That's right. That ain't my business. And it said, and keep your tongue from slander. Keep your tongue from, if you don't know the facts, if you don't know exactly what happened, if you have no proof of this action, don't go running this off. Yeah. You're slandering somebody's name. You're killing somebody's character. Listen, people who work hard, listen, say your name is above rubies and gold. Some people say, that's all I got is my name. That's all you got is your name. And somebody just come along and just throw dirt on it. That's like credit fraud or something. You work all these years to keep your credit score up, and then somebody jack you for a card or something. And now all of a sudden you got bills coming from nowhere, and it just hurts. And it's like, man, I'm trying to keep this credit score up to 720 so we can get this house, and now I'm getting these letters talking about I own some property or I own a car in Tuskegee somewhere I've never been. And I'm behind, I'm delinquent with car notes and all of this. It hurts you. Slander hurts some people who've been trying to keep their name clean and trying not to get involved in little garbage. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a major situation from somebody else creating it. Come shoot.
Seek not death in the era of your life, and pour not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands.
It says, do not invite death by the era of your life. The things you do wrong in life can lead you to an early death. You can invite death to you just by doing those things that are unpleasing to the Most High and that you know are totally wrong. But for some reason, you play with them, you know, and we get comfortable with certain things. We get comfortable. We know we're wrong. We know this is not what we should be doing at this time in our life. But after a while, it'll be like, ain't nothing happening. And that's what we do. Because Moses said it. He said, because but judgment doesn't come swiftly. Some people just feel like, you know, God understands. God gave you a pass on this one. You know? And you know better. And he said, if you know better,
Do better.
Do better.
Where we at?
Verse 13. For God made not death, neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living. But he created all things that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were healthful. And there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth.
It says, because God did not make death, and he does not delight in the death of the living. So God didn't make death in the beginning. He had it so, listen, we should live forever. We should live forever. But we, by going against what he said, we created a situation. We created a situation when God said, look, don't eat of this one and don't eat of that. All the rest of them, good money. Have at it. But again, we got comfortable and we let somebody get up in our ear and say, yo, your book say you can't do this on Friday? Come on, man. Come on, I go to this club every Friday, but nothing ever happened, man. This club be jumping every Friday with no situations, no violence, no style. And somebody got your ear and you say, well, okay, I'll dip in there one time. And boom, you created the death because you went against what you knew to be right or to be wrong. Go ahead.
Verse 15.
He says, for he created all things so that they might exist. And the generative forces of the world are wholesome, and there is no destructive poison in them. And the dominion of the Hadis is not on earth. But the Most High, in creating things, he created things that they should prolong, so they should go on. He made man and woman so that you can procreate children. He said use this seed, you know, for this tree, and don't mingle this and don't mingle that, so as to kill the goodness of it. But he made it so to live, so it keep carrying on. But by us playing with stuff and saying this fruit, that fruit, man, that might make a good juice if I put this apple and orange tree together. You know, we made stuff so it stops creating. We put the tiger and the lion together and made a titan like this. It's a lie. We made a lie. All right, 50.
For righteousness is immortal, but ungodly men with their works and words call it to them. For when they thought to have it their friend, they consumed to naught. and made a covenant with it, because they are worthy to take part with it.
It said, for righteousness is immortal. Uprightness, righteousness, you can pass this down, this thing can go on forever. Righteousness can go on forever, it can breathe. It says, but the ungodly, by their words and their deeds, summon death. Once we start doing ungodly things, and we start living a certain way that we're not supposed to live, we invite death. We summon death. You're healthy, you're strong, you know. You did your doctor's checkups, you do all that. You know, you do your 50 push-ups, you can do all of that still, but your actions summon death. Your actions summon something to happen to you that on a regular basis wouldn't happen. And you know, heart attack killed him or this or that. He was in the wrong place, wrong time, and it caused his untimely death. He said, considering him a friend, they pine away and made a covenant with him, because they are fit to belong to his company. Sometimes we deal with death, and we deal with things, and all of a sudden these things become our friends when we know they're really not no good to us. We become companions with things or with people that are contrary to the way we live.
Chapter 2. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave.
All right. It says, for they reasoned unsoundly, saying to themselves, short and sorrowful is our life. Sometimes things ain't going your way. I'm gonna take a shot at it. You're gonna live forever anyway.
Right.
Huh? We all gonna die.
Right.
Huh? I can go to Shabbat every week. I can do every commandment in this book. You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna die. So this is when you're reasoning with yourself to do some kind of evil.
Right.
Something against the Most High. You reason and say, everybody gonna die. I know a dude ate pork and he lived to be 103. His reasoning was, pork bread, pork fed, I'll be eating pork till I'm dead. And he lived 103. And you get people out here that do all of this stuff and die at 30. And this is the reasoning that you give yourself when you want to do evils. You say, okay, so there's no remedy when a life comes to an end and no one has been known to return from the dead. So you say, look, ain't nobody never came back and say, there's a life after death, and heaven is sweet up there, you know. They got this going on. Ain't nobody never came back and said that, which is true. But we know God's word stands forever. Comes from.
Verse 2. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. And the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the movement of our heart. Which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air. And our name shall be forgotten in time.
I really didn't want to go to chapter 2. I don't even know why I let you read so long. When we start talking about the ashes and coming back and all that, that'd be a whole nother teaching. But I do want to go to chapter 5 of the Proper and Ecclesiastes. I'm sorry.
Starting at verse 1.
7.
We're in the book of Ecclesiasticus.
Matter of fact, stop at 1. Okay.
Start at chapter 5, starting at verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Set not thy heart upon thy goods, and say not, I have enough of my life. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart. And say not, who shall control me for my works? For Jehovah will surely revenge thy pride.
It says, do not rely on your wealth or say, I have enough. Some people get at a place in their life where life is good. Can't nothing go wrong now. I got my safe house in the basement. I got this. My car is bulletproof. I got plenty of money. I can buy my way out of anything. It said, don't rely on your wealth like that. It says, do not follow your inclinations and strength in pursuing the desire of your heart. It said, don't follow after your strength and your inclination, your minds, after doing certain things. It says, do not say, who can have power over me? For Yehovah will surely punish you. At a point, some people get that Scarface attitude, the world is mine. Who did this? Me. That's who I trust. Me. That's who. We get that Scarface mentality. Because you did a lot of things, you may have worked hard, you hustled hard, whatever you did, but now you're at a point in your life where everything is me.
Everything is
me. It's me. Nobody did nothing. I did all this by myself.
Right. I hear you.
Because it said, for Yehovah will surely punish you. Mm-hmm. It says, it's got a piece in here, it says, because the Most High have brought them who were down in the dirt to be kings, and have made the kings to eat in the dirt. As we know about the king who had the fingernails grow long and had to go out there in the wild, Nebuchadnezzar. Here comes you.
Verse 4, say not, I have sinned, and what harm have happened unto me? For Yehovah is long-suffering, he will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin.
It says, do not say, as I said earlier, I have sinned, yet what has happened to me? Because the Most High is slow to anger, we get to a point where we good.
Okay. We
good. Mm-hmm. We've been, I know most of us have been, like I said before, in situations where you've been in front of a judge, or you've been in a hospital on a bed and 12 bullets in you, or you certain thing, and you say, Lord, if you just get me past this, if you get me past this one right here, I'll never do that again. I swear to you, Most High, I will never ever get myself back in a predicament like that. Never. And then Most High raises you up off your sick bed. He opens the cell, lets you out of jail, wherever it might be. And time go by. I mean, you're going to remember for a little while. I told Most High I'll never do that again. But as time go by, you get yourself back into a predicament, and you say, wow, okay, I did it. Ain't nothing happened. I'm still here, I'm breathing, everything is good, life is good. And you continue back in your folly. The same thing you told Most High you would never do it again. Because he was slow to anger, and he watched over you, putting him through the test day after day. And he took his time. He said, well, maybe my son, maybe he'll reconsider and rethink himself and say, nah, even if I got myself back into it, I'm going to slowly ease myself back out of this. If the Most High give me time, but don't say, I did it. What? Ain't nothing happened. What? That's when we get cocky. Come see.
Verse 6, and say not, his mercy is great, he will be pacified for the multitude of my sins, for mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners.
You know how many times that we read this thing? Well, every Shabbat, unless we run it late. And his mercy endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. And people start believing it. And his mercy is always there, but it ain't always on the same person. We all saying it, we crying out for his mercy. But you can't act like his mercy is so much there that you can do anything.
Exactly.
He just ain't gonna take care of you.
It don't work like that.
Because he's a just God also.
That's right.
And there's no way that he can let you get away with it. There's no way he could have let Abba Moshe get away with doing what he did and going to the land. Because it would have always been Moshe did it. Moshe did it, he good. Nothing happened to him. He over there. Well, I can't do it. So, but some people say, and his mercy endure forever, and they leave out of here rehearsing that. His mercy endure forever. I'm gonna run this red light. His mercy endure forever. I'm gonna do this. His mercy endure forever. Until that cop car come up behind you, and you got that ticket because you just did something idiotically, thinking that Most High got me. I just came out of teaching. Boom, straight down. There ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I'm good. So we can't play on it because he's slow to anger. He said, and do not be so confident of forgiveness that you add sin to sin. We sin. As our father Solomon said, there's no man that sinneth not. So we know we all sin, we make mistakes. But don't be so cocky and so confident to add sin to sin.
Yeah.
I went there Friday, I fought it, I fought my own spirit, and I went out there Friday, nothing happened. And they said next Friday's gonna be even more jumping. Nothing, you know, so now you're planning. You're planning on your next law break.
No how sin to sin.
Yeah. But some of us add sin to sin. But if you did something and you know it was wrong, and you don't have enough fear of the Most High to smite your side and say, man, I shouldn't have did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I shouldn't have ate that.
Teach that.
Man, I would know I was wrong. You know, and face the east or say a prayer, or at least just have it in your heart. Because the Most High can read your heart. He's not like us reading the outer part. He can read the inner part. So at least have it in your heart to say, man, I know I messed up there. And I'm going to try hard. I'm going to try my best not to get into that predicament or do that again. And the Most High will see that. And that's what his slow to anger is, giving you a chance to repair yourself. I'm going to say, stop drinking, you're going to die. Because he did say at the end that if you do drink, and you know, we can cut that piece of the liver ball, so you're making it, you know. But he's giving you a chance to prepare yourself. He's coming to you and say, listen, you know, if you stop right now, you know, you just got a little fatty tissue around the liver. If you stop now, you know, in a few months, you know, the liver will start, you know, repairing itself. You know, drink some water, do some exercise, you'll be all right. But if not, you know, might not have it now, but 10 years from now, you're gonna come in here, your liver gonna be like this. I'm gonna have to chop it off. And not everybody, but some of us would say 10 years from now, I could die tomorrow. so 10 years from now, I got 10 good years before I get cirrhosis.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not count. I mean, sure. But that's selfish. You know? That means you ain't thinking about your kids, your grandkids.
That's right.
You know, you ain't thinking about nothing, no future there. You just think about you in the here and the now.
That's right.
Gumshoe.
Verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to Yahweh, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance.
All right. It says, do not delay to turn back to Yahweh. You know how many people that you may see in this life that you went to some congregation with, or you know for a fact they used to have the longest ZCs all the way down to the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be like, wow, man, what happened to you, man? I ain't seen you in a while. Yeah, I'm just trying to get myself together.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm coming back to the camp. Where y'all at now? 382? I'm coming up there, man. Give me a few weeks just to get myself together. You know how many people have said that? He says, and do not postpone it from day to day.
Yeah.
For suddenly the wrath of Yahweh will come upon you, and at the time of punishment you will perish.
Yeah.
People put stuff off from day to day. I'll get to that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll get to that tomorrow. But tomorrow will come, because every tomorrow becomes today. And you keep putting it off, and then when the wrath comes down, you know, you be like, wow.
It's too late.
Yeah, what has happened to me?
Too late.
Because you kept postponing it. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this one more week. I know people who used to say, yo, I'm just going to do this one more. After this one, I ain't doing it no more.
I'm out the game.
Yeah, I'm out the game after this. They doing a little time now, because that last, you never know what that last time gonna bring.
Yeah.
That last time could be your last time, for real.
Right.
And that's what it was.
That's what it is. You're out.
You're out the game now.
Game.
I'm taking you out.
Good.
Huh?
You're right. That is your last one.
Yeah, that is your last one. You ain't even know.
Right.
How that last one was.
Yeah.
He says, Gumshoe.
Set not thy heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity.
All right, hold on. It says, do not depend on dishonest wealth, for it will not benefit you on the day of calamity. You know how many friends, people, associates, maybe even myself, this baby, had been in things and thought like, this money will never go nowhere.
No, this money will not.
The amount of money I make every day, I can't see myself being broke.
No.
There's no way I could see myself being broke.
No.
Huh? If I keep this thing going on like this,
Machine.
there's no way. This thing is guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
Huh? And you depend on this dishonest money so much. And then one day, poof, it's gone. It's gone. Because you're in a game where you're going to have to post bail, you got to pay a lawyer, you got to fight the case, or you might get hurt in this game, and you got the hospital fees, you know, like they say, fast money. Fast money out there ain't as fast as the money that the lawyer or the doctor going to get. That doctor don't get the fast money. It took him a minute to get through school, but when you come to him and say, yo, I'm going to take this case, well, I'm going to need a $25,000 retainer fee. That's just so you can say my name. That's just so you can use my name. And then every time I come to court, it's going to cost you $5,000. And then if you go to trial, it's going to cost you about another $15,000. And we lose the case, you're going to jail. That's probably the part he won't say, but it don't matter to him because you're going to get that money up. And as fast as it took you to make it, fast as you're going to spit it out. And as fast, and it don't come back. It don't come back. But you know, it's people out here who depend on that dishonest money.
Yeah.
You can offer them 3 jobs making the same. Nah. I don't work for this, but I can just sit on the stove. But I can just get a phone call and drive to the crib. Yeah, they say it ain't worth it. Ain't worth that, man. No. You have to come better than that if you want me to work.
Yeah.
Actually do physical work. Physical? Like hammer to the nail work?
No.
Nah.
Too much work.
Not me, man.
Too much work.
Yeah. But see, that's you got a little longevity. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Winnow not with every wind, and go not into every way, for so doth the sinner that hath the double tongue. Be steadfast in our understanding, and let thy word be the same. Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere, and with patience give answer.
Stand firm for what you know, and let your speech be consistent. If you know something to be right, if you know something, you know right from wrong, say stand firm on it.
Yeah.
But there's people out here that know something was wrong. You know something was not right. But after a while, after certain people get in your ear, they talk to you for a while, yo, listen, man. Listen. I know you say what you say. But you know, man, blood is thicker than water, man.
Yeah.
Blood is thicker than water, man. I know what you think you seen, man. I know what you think you heard, but I'm your brother. You gonna go against your brother like that? Yeah, but when you know something to be right or wrong, it says stand firm in your word. Stand firm in the thing that you believe and you know to be right. You go, yo, I know you're my brother, but you was wrong that time, man. You was wrong. Fess up. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna make me look all two-faced and become a liar. It said, be quick to hear, but deliberate in answering. I mean, you hear stuff, you listen to cases, all of us have had. You ever talk to somebody and you couldn't even finish the sentence before they jump in. But hold on, you didn't even let me finish. You say, okay, let me be quick to hear. I just want to hear everything you got to say. I'm going to give you a whole 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I said, be quick, take your time here. He said, but deliberate before you answer. Some people give you an answer, like I used to say, like Steve Harvey show, that Jeopardy or something. You hit the button and he even didn't finish the question. And you answered already. How you answer and you don't even know what I'm fully going to say? He said, but deliberate on your answer. Just tell them, listen, I'll get back to you on that. Let me think about it for a minute. Let me do a little investigation, and I'll get back to you with an answer. That's okay. That's all right. And if you need an answer right now, I can't answer you right now. I don't know all the facts. Both parties ain't here. I haven't heard the other sister's side. How can I give you an answer on what I'm going to do? There's two sides to the story. I can't say, well, okay, she did that, I'm throwing her out. You don't even know her side. You don't know why she did it, if she did it. Let's say, don't be so quick in the answer. I'll get back to you. Come, she.
If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
Okay, again, if you got understanding of it, if you know about the situation, okay, I heard about that. It said, okay, then you can, he said, then you can answer your neighbor. I can tell you about those things I'm knowledgeable about. I can tell you about this and that and why we feel this way about it. He said, but if I don't know nothing about it,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, people have tried to answer you with no knowledge. Well, in my opinion, what I think, or no. Either you know what to do for this illness or you don't. No, just don't give me your home remedies. You know how to. I got this wrong with me and that wrong with me. Oh man, if that was wrong with me, one time I had something like that. It wasn't the same, but I did this and I drank that and I was all right. If you don't know the answer, just I don't know, bro.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we can Google it. You know what I'm saying? I'll try to help you find the answer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it's all right to say I don't know.
That's right.
It's all right to
That's
say I don't have the answer to that.
There you go.
Because we ain't got the answer to everything.
There you go.
But some people try to act like they do.
Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall. Be not called a whisperer, and lie not in wait with thy tongue. For a foul shame is upon the thief,
Right.
and an evil condemnation upon the double tongue.
All right.
Be not ignorant.
Honor and dishonor come from speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking can rise you up or bring you down.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
From your mouth.
In your mouth. Yeah.
It can bring you down. You know, you have people saying, yo, listen to this, bro. If you hear him on the radio, check him, because, he got a lot of positive things to say, and, he's a good, this and that. Or you may say, yo, I turn the channel, radio every time. Every time Prince get up to teach, I turn that D.C.B channel to something else. But that comes, it can come either way. Dishonor or honor.
Honor. Yeah.
So it's in the speech.
Yeah. Speech.
He said the tongue of mortals may be their downfall. In your tongue, wherever you at, whether you this high, that high, your speech can knock you to the ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Your speech can put you lower than you already are. Just from talking. You ain't got to hit nobody, you ain't got to do nothing else. Just sitting there at people who really listen. And they listen to the words coming out your mouth. And they say, wow, that guy really lost his mind.
Yeah. Okay.
He's really out of it now. He used to be so eloquent. He used to teach like this, but he's lost his mind. And that's just from you speaking. You ranting and raging and grumbling, as the other chapter said. Things you just start doing. And he said, wow, I ain't never known him like that, but he lost it. He said, do not be called double-tongued, and do not lay traps with your tongue. Don't have people out here saying, yo, that guy say one thing, he do another thing, and he might tell you this, and he told me that. You're double-tongued. That means you like to be good on all sides.
Yeah, you're in the middle.
You put yourself in the middle of yourself, and you be like, yeah, you're right, bro. And then you go to hit the other side, yeah, you're right. Somebody got to be wrong in this matter. Or both of y'all can be wrong, but it's hard. I mean, unless, you're telling two separately different stories. But, some people get caught in a double tongue. It said, for shame cometh to the thief, and severe condemnation to the double tongue. It's a shame in getting caught in a thievery. Because thieves are a bad thing because they make everybody look bad.
That's right. Yeah.
Thieves, what I mean? If you put something down and somebody take it, everybody's a suspect in here.
Exactly.
Thieves are a bad thing, man. But a double tongue, when people just say, listen, you can't trust nothing that come out of his mouth. You can't trust no word that come out of his mouth. Nothing he says is true. He got a double tongue. He tell this one, that one. It's a condemnation. You condemn yourself. People don't want to hear what you say.
Verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in the great matter or small.
All right. And in great matters and in small matters, we try not to, especially when it comes to this book, we try not to be so ignorant that we know nothing about it. Like as Chief Uzel said, it's always good to study certain things. Like if you're going up against somebody who has another faith, you got to know something about that when you go up against them. As our teachers would say, back in the days, listen, if you're going up against them Christians, you better know some New Testament.
Yeah.
You better know a little something about the New Testament. I ain't gonna never read the New Testament in my life. But you're gonna sit on a forum. Yeah. You're gonna sit on a platform with people who study this thing back and forth.
Thank you.
Huh? And your book. They know much about your book, but you don't want to know nothing about their book. So we have to put our studies and our works in, and we have to do the job that the Most High has given us to teach our people. And with that, I hope and pray that y'all got something out of this. And I say, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please be seated. We still got a little bit of time. Let's start. So because y'all heard from me already, not that I can't go on, not that I can't, but we may have a question and answer period, so people who have questions here or online, feel free to start posting your questions, and we might try to address it. People here who have questions about what we do, please feel free to gather your questions now. We might do that before we end out for the day. I'm also, just so we're aware, March 20th, I believe, in the evening starts Purim. April 20th of 2019 in the evening, and I'll verify this afternoon, should start our Passover period. However, we do have our brother from Beit El. I want to welcome him. Let's give him a round of applause. They're always welcoming to me when I come. They always have food for me. They ask me, do I need anything? Their spirit of praise is great. And tell them on behalf of Beit D.C.B, when you go back, we give them a good Shabbat Shalom. Tell them that they're always welcome. Every time I come, I let them know that they're all welcome here. I'm glad you made it out, even in the snow. but you made it up here, and I'd like for you to come up now, say a few words on behalf of the Most High God, congregation, and give them praise. Please stand at this time. Baruch haba.
Hallelujah. 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 Yakai. 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 I'm humbled to be able to be in this place, to be able to have something to part to the people of Yisrael. Adonai Sipotai Titak Ufiyaki Tehilateka. O Most High, please open my mouth and my lips may declare your praise. You may be seated. I'm not going to be before you long. Again, like I said, it is an honor to be able to be in this position right now. I didn't expect to have anything to say. I'm usually the background person. But it is always good to be able to dwell amongst our brothers and sisters, and for it to be unity. And that's the thing that the Most High is calling right now, is that we all become unified. Amen. And have that one mind, one heart, and one determination. And that is to give the Most High all praise, all honor that is due to his holy and righteous name. Amen. They're looking at me like I'm a foreigner. I am your brother. I'm from Philadelphia, but I'm still your brother.
And I come in peace,
Amen.
love, and happiness. Y'all don't have to stone me.
No.
It's all right. Indeed, I enjoyed the teachings from our Prince. It's always a blessing to see familiar faces. Our brother, in the back, it's always a blessing. I just have one thing I guess I'll share. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. We had recently a death of one of our good friends. He was only 41. He passed in his sleep. And as the Prince was talking, he had made mention and said, you can invite death based on your actions. Sometimes we don't really understand the full magnitude of how you carry yourself, whether it be to your peers, or whether it be to the young people that are looking up to you. It's always important that you pay attention to how you conduct yourself on a daily basis, because you don't know who you're actually impacting just walking down the street. You don't know how someone actually looks up to you and how they admire you.
Yes.
So based on that, we want to always be cognitive of how we conduct ourselves and how we treat each other. One thing that the Most High is always calling for us is to be hospitable. And that was one of the things that during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, a lot of people want to say that it was about homosexuality. But in actuality, if you look at, I believe it was in the book of Ezekiel, the Most High actually explains exactly why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It's because they wasn't hospitable. It's because when the angels came into the city, they actually wanted to, partake in other things that was unacceptable. But at the same time, it was the fact that they wasn't allowing them to come in and say, like Abraham. You remember Abraham came, the angels came, he said, let me wash your feet. Let me give you something to drink. These are the things that the Most High is wanting for us right now. To be able to come together in unity and have an understanding of, not having malice or hatred toward each other, but instead coming together as a one people. So I'm gonna try to find this. Okay, it's a saying that I had came across. It says, Yah will never leave you empty. He will replace everything you've lost. If he asks you to put something down, it's because he wants you to pick up something greater. So I'm just going to leave that with you. Don't be afraid of losing things, because that is the Most High's will of saying that I have something greater. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Look up. Okay, please be seated. So it's important for us to understand there was more than a few things going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Hospitality was definitely one of the things. And I'm not going to get into that whole lesson of that. But what I am going to say is that one of the first things when the angels went into the city, the people were praying on them. They stopped and it was like, who's this here now? And where are they? Because they had evil intentions for them. So I talk about that for us as a congregation, right? So we see a new sister, a new brother. And as a man, I talk about what men sometimes tend to do. It's like, oh, she's pretty. I want her to become wife number 18. So can we kind of let the sister breathe? Let her come be a part of what's going on before she thinks that everybody just wants to do X, Y, and Z, as opposed to come to serve God. Nothing wrong with us liking one another. Nothing wrong with people getting married and all that good stuff. I'm here for all of that. But let's understand what hospitality is about, right? That's what we do. the place, and we look at the portion and everything that we just learned. The place is supposed to look pretty, it's supposed to be nice. We got the curtains up, we see the gold glittering, and you know, the brass, and the altar, and the laver, and the Ark of the Covenant, and the priests in their priestly garments, right? And the words sound great. But then what about the actions of the people? That's the part that we miss, right? That's the part that make people not want to come. That's the part that when God says in Isaiah, the 1st chapter, if only there was somebody to close these doors. Because the Ark of the Covenant means nothing without righteousness. I can put on as many turbans and wrap 18 different colors, right? Here I go with that number 18, right? But the reality is that if you're not living right, if what's inside isn't right, God's going to break it up. And so, you know, within the Apocrypha, he was just talking about ignorance and, you know, righteousness, and righteousness not being able to dwell with ignorance. And, you know, one of my favorite quotes from Marcus Garvey, yes, I'm on that Black History Year thing. I'll be on this all year long. Yeah. Ignorance rules the world. Excuse me. Intelligence rules the world. And ignorance carries the burden. You can't, don't like being ignorant. You know, we laugh at being silly, and sometimes being silly is okay. We all have guilty pleasures. But understand the space that ignorance holds, and don't let it hold a place in your heart. That's not what God expected from us. That's not what he wanted us to be. He wanted us to be a righteous nation. And part of righteousness, you know, Solomon gave his prayer, right? And what did Solomon ask for from God? Ask for wisdom. Pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And God loved him for that. He said, because you didn't ask for riches, neither women, and all other stuff, he said, I'm going to give you what you asked for, plus the riches. And dare I state, even at the end, Solomon allowed, with all the wisdom he had, Solomon allowed the women that he decided to take on. Because I want us to understand this. Oftentimes, it comes across as women brought Solomon down. The women that Solomon decided to take on, that he decided to make false houses of worship, of false gods, houses of worship of false gods, for them, that's what ended up taking him away from God. And so I've told y'all before, and I'll say it again. The same way you can be blessed is the same way you can be cursed. All at the same time. And to us, that doesn't make sense, because we're like, how's God going to curse you and how's he going to bless you at the same time? But God has said, when the word goes out of his mouth, it shall not come back what? Void. So if he blesses you, he blesses you. You'll get the blessing. That's fine. That doesn't mean he can't curse you in your wisdom. It doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean he can't destroy it. None of that doesn't mean it can't happen. We have to understand that God says what he says and he means what he means. So as I take this time and I open up to the question and answer period for the last times we have left, I'm going to ask Sael if you see any questions online. You see the chat up? You see the chat up? You see people making comments? You're not sure? Hey, don't start touching stuff. Don't do that. I said, do you see? If you don't see it, don't worry about it. Don't touch nothing. Somebody go get Amos. And we'll start with our questions. So Sister Eva, listen, don't ask me no hard questions. I want you to ask me something easy, like what does Genesis 1:2 say? And I'll answer that. I'm joking. Come on.
So this past week, one of the teachers in Israel said that the word Egypt does not mean bondage. And I think that that's apologetic that people have been using in Deuteronomy 28 to say that we are the descendants of the children of Israel.
Okay.
Because they go back to Egypt in ships.
Okay.
It didn't physically mean Egypt, but it meant bondage. So that's what people are using as a proof text to say that we are the children of Israel. I just want to understand, if Egypt doesn't mean bondage, then how does it mean bondage?
Okay, so I always have this question when we get into language. When people say that Egypt means bondage, where are they getting that from? Are they saying that the word Egypt from, and that's the thing that I come to. So the place known as Mitzrayim, that's how we see it in Hebrew. Is that the word we use as bondage? Not that I know of. I'm not saying that I know everything. What happens is, from what I've understood, I don't know who you've spoken to, but I have heard what you've said before. They're using Deuteronomy 28, that you will go into Egypt again, right? And so they're saying that because Egypt was our first bondage, that now we're back in bondage, and that Egypt means bondage. And so there are times where certain terms, certain names can become synonymous with a place. So I'm saying that because you can go out amongst another group and they'll say we're in Babylon. And this is what Babylon is, right? And the reality is that this is not Babylon, but they're referring it to Babylon because they're referring it to what? Another bondage. So my answer to you, to be definitive, I'm not aware of Mitzrayim in Hebrew meaning bondage. I can do some research and try and get it to you. But as far as we've known so far, no. That's what people have been using it to become synonymous with a place of our captivity, which obviously would spread to the four corners of the world, so that in every place other than Israel would be our bondage. Okay. Any other questions? I'll take them all. I may not answer them all, but I'll take them all. Nothing? Y'all sure? Sal, you reading or you looking at the pictures? What is that? It's a question? Listen, don't start telling me everything that's up there. It's a question? No questions. I find that hard to believe, but okay. All right. Let's open up our book. Oh, Sister Edna. Speak up. Shabbat Shalom. How are you? Good to see you. Fresh off a birthday. I see you. Come on.
Morey, I have a question. I actually passed this, but it's a little confusing to me, and I really don't understand. There is in 1 Samuel, actually in the first verse, I want to know how come it says...
1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1? Chapter
1, yes. I'm in verse 1. And it says that it says there was a certain man...
What version are you reading out of? I'm just being funny right now. Come on, sister.
Okay, this is all I want to know. I want to know, they says his name was Elkanah. He was the son of Jeroham, the son of Eliyahu, the son of Tahu, the son of Zubah. How is he so many sons? I know that might sound stupid, but I just don't know. Is this from back generation?
So I'm going to read it.
Yes.
Now there was a certain man of Ramatayim Zophim of the hill country of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Yeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. And you want to understand how he was the son of so many people. So the way it works in our history, usually they stop and they state what the person's genealogy was. So when they start saying, and even though they don't explain it here, we see from earlier in our history what they will name is the father, then the grandfather, and so on and so forth. So great-grandfather, things of that nature. So you understand where the line is going from. It's important to understand that, because then once you understand the line the person's coming from, you actually understand their tribe. And then once you understand their tribe, you understand where they lived and the history of the people and how everything broke down. So it was important in this story to understand who eventually Shemuel was and would become. Does that make sense to you? So in particular, they're saying Elkanah was the son of Yeroham. That was who his father was. And now Elihu was the father of Yeroham, the grandfather of Elkanah, so on and so forth. Okay? So that's how that works. Any other questions? I'm trying to avoid going into a chapter, then I take y'all past 2 o'clock. Then y'all start talking about impeaching me and all that other stuff. Oh, nothing? Still nothing online? Y'all sure?
It's an old question online. You want to answer that?
Sure.
While in an unclean state, does that mean that we cannot pray, study, meditate, or share the oneness of Yah and Torah?
Good question. Y'all will like my answer. It depends. It depends. Can you pray, study, things of that nature? So uncleanness, I've said this before and I'll say this again. Uncleanness is in relation to our place of worship, right? Outside of our place of worship, actually, by nature of what we do, we can become unclean. Women can become unclean at a certain time. Women can become unclean at a certain time. Men and women can become unclean at a certain time. A man can become unclean at a certain time depending on what's going on. And I won't give those examples at those times. I will just say, reference Leviticus, the 15th chapter, and throughout Torah we see different things happening. Even from what you eat can make you unclean. My answer to the question is, the only time that it will prevent you from praying or studying is if you want to come to the place of worship to pray or study. So when we're at our place of worship, we're supposed to be ritually clean. We're supposed to be physically clean also. But we're supposed to be ritually clean, which means that before the sun goes down, that we take our shower, we wash ourselves from head to toe, and you do what you do. But, I mean, the very idea that a woman could become unclean from a baby and be unclean either 40 or 80 days, and to say that she can't study or pray for 40 or 80 days is absolutely ridiculous. People become unclean by leprosy, even though we don't see that often now. Those people did what they had to do. One thing is not indicative of the other. You praising God and praying to God, sometimes you have an uncleanness on you and you don't know why you've had it for so long. Dare I state, that's the time for you to get even stronger in your prayer to God and ask God what's going on with you and why you're going through what you're going through. But that shouldn't keep you away from serving God. So the answer is, only if it's in relation to you coming to the place of worship, you won't be able to come here and pray to God because of what's happening. Anybody else? So I got a note to ask the brother from Philly if you want to come up and introduce yourself. But we did that, right? I was ahead of the game, don't worry. I don't got any more for you. So, let's turn to the book of Jeremiah. Let's turn to the 3rd chapter.
It's more questions, I'm sorry.
Come on. No, that's cool.
Do D.C.B have a list of the 613 commandments?
I'm smiling because to answer the question, the answer is no. Unless there's somebody, I'm sorry. Are you aware of us having a list of the 613 commandments? As far as I know, no, we don't have a list. I know Chief Uziel did say that he has seen it online, so I do believe it's somewhere. And I adjure people, don't get caught up in the number of 613 commandments. Follow what's written from Genesis to Deuteronomy. That's what you do. Instead of looking to say, oh, I need to follow this commandment, or I need to follow that commandment, because there were things actually that went on after we got out of the time of Moses that we said that we would do as a nation that God accepted.
Okay. Please explain Judges 1:19.
Explain Judges 1:19. Let's see what it says. Joshua, then Judges. So Judges 1:19 states, as I get there, Judges 1:19 states, and Yehuda and Yahweh was with Yehuda, and he drove out the inhabitants of the hill country, but he could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. So I usually don't say this, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. The person who's asking the question online would have to clarify what they're asking me to explain.
So you want to go to the next question while you read that?
Absolutely.
I think I can clarify with the person, it wasn't me, but people who tend to ask that question are asking, supposedly there's nothing that God can't do, so how is it that the scripture is saying he can't? So usually that's what that question is really trying to ask.
So there's two things happening here. I'm going to answer it because I'm hoping that's what the person was asking. It's cool. Don't. What I'm saying, I'm pointing to you because if they clarify, please let me know. So what's happening here is God told us to destroy everybody in there. And he said if we didn't destroy everybody in there, that they would be a snare to us. When it says he drove out the inhabitants of the hill country, for he could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had chariots of iron, that's not God. That's the Judites. And so while the Judites believed that they couldn't do it, is one thing. But they thought they were successful because they drove out part. But God told us, he told Moses, he gave him explicit instructions. He said, destroy everything. Kill them all. Here, as we get into the time of Judges and even the time of Joshua, the same thing was still going on. You know, they were picking and choosing who they would kill and what they would save and things of that nature. And the irony of it all is that even as we got into the time of Samuel and we get into Shaul the king, the way that he ended up messing up his blessing was because he didn't utterly destroy everything that was there.
You have the next question? Where does it say we should come to a place of worship every Shabbat?
Leviticus 23, with explanation. Let's turn it in. They usually come out every once in a while when they say, where does it say? Okay. We're going to start from 1 though. And the Lord spoke unto Moses saying, and I always start off with that one so that we understand that it's a command. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, the appointed seasons of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation, even these are my appointed seasons. So, I'm sorry. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day is a Shabbat, a solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no manner of work. It is a Shabbat unto Yahweh in all your dwellings. When the chapter starts off, when they talk about that term, Mikra Kodesh, you know, people, explaining it for what it is, the term Mikra is the calling and the Kodesh is the holiness. But the term means this is the time that you should appear before me. And we've had people who have learned 2 minutes of Hebrew and stopped and said, oh, that's not what that means. That just means that the day is holy. That's never what that means. When God created the tent in the wilderness, the tent of meeting, they call it a tent of meeting for a reason. The funny thing about it is we translate it in English as tent of meeting, but the term in Hebrew is Ohel Moed. And when they talk about appointed seasons, they use that word Moed, the Moadim. And I say that because where you bring your offerings was to the Ohel Moed, to the Ohel Moed. Where you bought your tithe was to the Ohel Moed. Where everything you bought to the priest was the Ohel Moed. Then we come to captivity, and people who don't want to come out, for whatever reasons they don't want to come out, they're like, oh, just because it's a holy calling doesn't mean we have to meet. And I tell you, straight up, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Moreh Yiftach said it. You're wrong. Mikra Kodesh means that there will be a holy meeting. If you don't want to meet with certain people because you have going on whatever you have going on with whoever, that's fine. But you have to go somewhere. And there are places that we call upon God, but God intended for us to come together certain times of the year. Therefore, he enumerated those times. He said on the Sabbath, and on the Passover, and on Chag Shavuot, and on Yom Teruah, and on, I missed the 7th day of Chag Matzot. On the first day of Chag Matzot, the 7th day of Chag Matzot, for Shavuot, for Yom Teruah, and Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, and Shemini Atzedek. He enumerated those days for a reason. And in particular, he told us that on those 3 certain times, we should come down to the temple in particular and make sure that no male comes empty-handed. So, it is the understanding of this congregation of what we read in this book, when we understand what the Most High God was saying, that Leviticus 23 verses 1 through 3 was the command for us to come together on every Sabbath day. That's it? No.
My question stems from Exodus chapter 20, verse 5. Please read it. Now, a child or a generation can be put to death because of my parents or ancestors who didn't serve the Creator.
Exodus 20, verse 5. She said at the end of the Shabbat, which reads, thou shalt not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, God, am a jealous God. Well, I got to start the beginning of the thought. So, verse 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor any manner of likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Verse 5, thou shalt not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. And the question was,
a child or a generation can be put to death because of my parents or ancestors who didn't serve the Creator.
So, yes, and what my brother just said, the term is in reference to them that hate me. And so, what I will tell you is that the way you phrase it, not the way you phrase it, but the way the person who phrased it makes it seem as if anybody at any time. But my actions can definitely dictate what happened with my children and my children's children. And that's indicative of what happened with King David in the matter of Bathsheba. And when he slept with her and committed adultery, and he killed her husband in order to cover up the fact that she was pregnant and with his child, the Most High God said, for that, violence will never leave from your house.
Ready for the next question?
Yes. I mean, unless they got a follow-up to it, I don't want to jump back, but.
Is the God of the Quran indeed a different God than the Most High?
So, what I'm going to say, Chief French just taught about this, right? That have patience in your answer. From what I understand about the Quran, because I have not studied the Quran at depth, that at one point they say the God of Abraham is who you should turn to. My answer to you in completeness is that if the God of the Quran is not Yahweh of hosts, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, then it's not the God we serve. That's my answer.
Does taking a bath before sunset on Friday matter for those of us who serve the Creator on the Sabbath, or we all in the state of uncleanness? We won't become clean from being washed by the blood of the red heifer?
Okay. I understand the question, but this question needs a little bit clarity. So it's saying, do we have to take a shower before or bath before the sun goes down on Friday? And the part that wasn't clarified is because we don't have the water that will make us clean from the dead. Do we need to take that shower or that bath? So just so that we're clear, you know, the waters of purification for the dead, you need a red heifer and a couple of other things, a part of the concoction. And because at one point we've either stepped on a grave, knowingly or unknowingly, especially being New York City, where if we know our history, part of Harlem was a huge grave where they buried slaves, and that's why they sent us all up there to live when we didn't have a place to go, then does it matter that we take a shower or not? So the answer to the question is yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Our teacher, Cohen Levi Hagadol, has taught that this is a dress rehearsal. Said it makes no sense for us to think that we're not going to do laws here, and then we're going to walk into the land and do the laws according to how they're written in the book. So, though we may not, I will concede to the fact that we do not have a red heifer, so we cannot become unclean from the dead. Our practice is that we will wash ourselves and make ourselves as clean as possible when we come to serve before God, and that if we have certain uncleannesses on us other than the dead, that we will refrain from coming out to service until that time frame passes. So in particular, if a man has an occurrence by night, he shouldn't come and it happens, he can't get himself clean before the Shabbat, he should not show up that day. If a woman becomes unclean by her menstruation, she should wait 7 days. If a woman has a baby, whether it's 40 days or 80 days, male child being 40 days, female child being 80 days, they will make that amount of time, so on and so forth. And even something that I personally practice, if you know you have stepped on a grave or come in contact with the dead, then you should at least wait 7 days and wash yourself in that time frame, in spite of the fact of not having the red heifer. Now, something that requires a little bit more in-depth thought and talking about those people who work for a cemetery or who work in hospitals where they may work in the morgue or cleaning out rooms where people die because you have people who are in ICU and actually don't make it out. That will require a little bit more in-depth thought and something for us to talk about. And that's it. Y'all might get some more from me this afternoon, but our brother Chief Naftali Ben Don, if he makes it, he'll be up to speak. I invite us all to continue to have our questions, develop them, speak about the different things that we need to speak about. Unity Weekend 2019, we're going to be out there for everybody who wants to come. Restoration Plaza in Brooklyn, New York. Please join us. Please let the family know. They're definitely invited. And listen, that spirit of praise that y'all got, bring it. We're there for all that. We could do that, because as they'll tell you, if you leave this all up to me, man, we in trouble. But we'll let you sing. We'll do the different things that we do. Let us rise and face the east as we close out. Brother Junior, I know you wasn't ready for me, but I'm ready for you, brother. Please come up and give us a prayer. Give the Most High God praise. Please. Israel, my brother.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yah, Holy One of Israel. I ask you this day to forgive my sin and the sin of my household. Watch over the congregation and bless us on your holy day, O Yah. For we came out here to serve you. Whether it be heat, snow, rain, it doesn't matter, O Yah. We're here to serve you, O Yah. For you are the King.
Amen.
Yah, I ask you to bless the elderly, the kids, and all our people from the four corners of the earth, O Yah. The whole house of Israel, O Yah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Amen.
Amen.
And Yehovah God, as we come before you this day, I ask that you continue to be with this congregation for good and not for evil. Bless us with the things that we need, God. For even you know that we desire to have a place bigger before you. You know, Yehovah God, that we desire to open up the doors to the community at large, to do the things that you desire for us to do, even to teach people of who you are and the way that we serve you. Therefore, I ask this day, Yehovah God, that you continue to be with the sick. Be with the fatherless, Yehovah God, I pray. Be with those who are downtrodden in spirit. Have it to be, Yehovah God, that we might call upon you in all times and all seasons. Have it to be, Yehovah God, that as we're healed from everything that we suffer from, that we would be reminded to give thanks and praise unto you. I ask, God, that you continue to be with the elderly. Keep the elders in our midst. Have their wisdom, Yehovah God, to not fall on deaf ears, but that we would hear it for what it is. And we also ask, God, that the wickedness that is in our midst, that you cause us to understand how to get rid of it, that we would get that, Yehovah God, we will move in such a way that we would understand how to protect our children and how to protect our congregants and how to protect those that are round about us, that this place might be a place of joy, of worship to all who come through these doors. Yehovah God, by you and only by you will we be successful. Therefore we call upon you because we realize that there's none beside you. Hoping and praying that you heard the words of this prayer, even as you heard the words of our forefathers' prayer. Even Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael, those men whom you desire to make covenant with and blessed according to their righteousness. And hoping and praying that you find me and my family and this entire house of D.C.B. worthy and even acceptable to be part of that righteous remnant and part of that righteous generation that you said will be the repairs of the breach and the restorers of streets of dwelling. All honor and praise to your name now and forevermore. Hallelujah. 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 Well, amen. O Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh. Children of Israel, that the Most High God commanded to be spoken before his people. hoping and praying at the conclusion of this portion of the day that the Most High God will look down upon us from heaven, that he would accept the words that we have given before him and all the service that we gave before him, and that he would even bestow a blessing upon his people. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Why daber Yehovah el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon ve el Banah lemor, kol tevarku et bnei Yisrael amor lehem. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto Aharon and unto his son, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel. Ye shall say unto them, Yivarekka Yehovah Yishmareka, Ya'ir Yehovah Panah Leka Wechuneka, Yisa Yehovah Panah Leka Weyasem Leka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee, and may he give thee peace. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy, meaning keeping your conversations right, giving honor and praise to this God. We will resume at 4:45, 4:45 p.m. Shabbat Shalom.